everyone, and welcome to today's One Card Wonder Wednesday for today, March 6th, 2019. I hope everyone's having a great day. I am having a pretty good day. I wanted to show you the card that we're going to make today, and it is this really cute card that I used Daffodil Delight paper for the base, and then I made a stencil using the Doily Builder Thinlits, and I did thick, very vanilla cardstock because I wanted it to make sure it was going to last a little longer than just using it once or twice. I want to keep it so I can use it for other cards, different colors. But I hope you like today's card. I'm just going to set this off to the side while we start working. And the first thing I'll show you is the Doily Builder Thinlits that I used. I went ahead and used this large one, but I didn't use the outside edge because that would just cut out the doily. So for this card, I didn't cut it all the way out. I'll show you in just a moment. And then I used this one to cut out some other small and some smaller doilies as well. But here are the masks, the stencil that I made, or mask, however, whatever you want to call it. And of course, after I stenciled on it, it's really cute. So this would be a great idea just to use for a card front as well. But like I said, I want to use this over and over as a mask. So I'm going to try to get my video to pull up here because I haven't done that yet, just to see everyone who's on here. Hi, Lois. Hi, Donna. How are you? Hi, Fran. So anyway, this is the little mask that I used, and I used 3 different ink colors. I used Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, and Pacific Point. And all I did was I took a piece of paper that is, actually, was it this size? Yes, it was. 5 1/4. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Aunt Sherry. How are you? 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I put my little mask over top of it. And you can see it really well now because I've already inked over it once. But it was just very vanilla before. So obviously it wasn't as bright as it is right now. And it's going to get a little bit brighter because I'm going to do the masking again. All right, I took a little piece of washi tape just to hold the corner down. And then this little corner here, because the way I cut it, I had a couple of spots where I could do that. And I actually can probably hold each corner down with just a tiny piece of washi tape. It doesn't have to be anything big. But just to keep it in place so when you're sponging that you're not going all over the place, although it probably wouldn't make a huge difference, because it would just blend your colors a little more and it would probably be really pretty. So I'll start with the Daffodil Delight. And when I did this, I was thinking about this doily shape, and I just kind of wanted to go around the outer edges of this shape with the yellow, the Daffodil Delight. And because my ink has a little bit darker around the edges, because obviously there's a little more ink on the pad there, that's where I went ahead and just used the sponge dauber, which you can just stick right on your finger, or you can hold it in your hand, it doesn't matter. So all I did was just kind of sponged around where I knew the edges of that doily image were. And I sponged it, I kept dipping it back into the ink a lot just to make sure I got plenty of ink around. Hi, Jenny, how are you? And then on this edge over here, it's all yellow because this was just an edge of that doily. And you can see where this is already starting, even though this is the second time I've used it. It's a little bit frayed right there. So that's why I used the thick cardstock when I made this. Now, I didn't even think, I probably could have used a window sheet. That might have been good because of the acetate plastic that it is. Maybe I'll try that, make one with a window sheet and see how it cuts out, and see if that would make a mask that you could use over and over and you could just wipe it off when you got done. I think this ink would just wipe off from it. I would have to check and see because I haven't done that before. Okay, so I can't tell, you can tell there's just a little bit of some spots I didn't quite get real dark, but that's okay as long as it's got some of the yellow on them. So after I did the daffodil, I went ahead and did the Granny Apple Green. I kind of went from darker or lighter to darker. And Granny Apple Green is just a little bit, just kind of done on the inside of this little edge. And I noticed I was rubbing pretty hard with my dauber on that last time, so I kind of got my little sponge a little bit. So maybe I just need to do more daubing and less rubbing because I kind of ruined it a little bit. That's all right. Live and learn. And you do have to kind of rub a little bit, but I was kind of rubbing hard on that, trying to get the color on there so you all would be able to see it good. Okay, and then once done with that, I went ahead and used the Pacific Point, which I always forget how beautiful this blue is until I get it out and use it for a card. It just really is a gorgeous blue. Just sponge a little bit and then rub it around just to make sure you fill that in. And then I kind of go over a little bit into the green with it, just to add a little bit. Blend it. I should have blended a little bit more between my yellow and green as well. So I might go back with the granny apple green and blend it in just a little bit. I don't know if any of you have tried a technique like this or done any type of sponging. I'm just going to do that just a little bit with the Daffodil Delight, or I'm sorry, the granny apple green. I went for the wrong color. Go back around, and I feel like I moved my paper a little bit there. I should have taped my paper down on the bottom too. There we go. Just get it back where it needs to be. I don't know if you can see it, but I kind of moved it just a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna do just a little bit of green in with the yellow, just to, because it kind of makes it blend and looks like kind of tie-dyed, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Lois was over earlier and we did a video, and I'm going to watch it to make sure it's good enough to post, but we did a box card. And we were talking about this, and she suggested it would be cute to use it for like a 4th of July card, which I thought was great. And we thought maybe if you did a light blue in the middle, a little bit lighter red, a darker blue, and a darker red, it would kind of look like fireworks maybe. So just take your little washi tape. You can just pull that right off. You're not going to need that again because we're done with this. And then you have this beautiful background for your card, which I think turned out really fantastic. And like I said, you could go ahead and use this to make a card with as well, which would be great, but I just want to use it over and over. And again, maybe I'll try cutting a window sheet next time and just see how that turns out, just for something to keep. So now that that's done, I have a piece of Daffodil Delight paper, cardstock, and I cut it 5.5 by 8.25, and I've got it scored. I'm just going to flip it this way, and I'm going to go ahead and just use some of the snail to adhere it. You could dimensional it if you want to, but I don't think it really needs dimensional. I kind of like the way it looked laying flat. But now we have a piece of ribbon that we need to add on here, and that is some of the organdy ribbon that just came back in stock and apparently has already sold out again. So I apologize, you can't get this ribbon. I didn't know this when I designed this card earlier, but I'm going to use the ribbon anyway. So I just took a piece and stuck it around, and then stuck it to the back of the card where that, we'll do it just a little bit higher. Stuck it to the adhesive that's on the back. Shoot, now I can't get it off. My ribbon wasn't long enough. So go ahead and stick that around again, and then we'll just adhere the card front to the base here. And now that we have that on there, I'm going to go ahead and fold it and use my bow and folder. And then I'm going to take the ribbon here, and I'm just going to take it right while it's on the spool, and I'm just going to make a little bow. Because I wanted a bow on there, and I was trying to wrap it all the way around and tie it, and it just wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to. So I figured if I just made a bow afterwards, we could just stick it on with a glue dot, and that worked really well. So I'm just going to cut this off. And if you keep it, if you attach to your ribbon, well, instead of just cutting a big piece before you make your bow, you end up wasting a lot less ribbon. I always end up with a little piece here and there, but nothing major. And now I'm going to stick that down with a glue dot, and I need to find my glue dots. I ran out of my regular glue dots, so I'm using some that come in the paper pumpkin kit, which work just fine. I'll just scoop it up, and I'm gonna just stick my glue dot right to my ribbon there, and just peel off that adhesive back, and then I'm gonna stick that bow right there on that glue dot. Perfect. And now I use the, oh my gosh, it's not the Well Said framelits, but these, or Thinlits, these go with the Well Said stamp set, and I can't think of what they're called, Well Written, I believe. And I cut out the word happy in Pacific Point, and then I just used, and I always take just a little snip, a couple of little snips here of the edge, I'm sorry, I'm losing my words, from the edge of the dimensionals, because they fit really well if you just take a little snip, and you don't have to use a lot of them, but if you have the paper piercing tool, everything will just easy to lift up and fit right onto these little words that are pretty thin, but that way you can give them that dimension on your card, which I think is great. All right, so we've got happy. We're just going to put that down first, and then I have just a strip of Whisper white paper, and I have the Wishes stamp, which is from the Well Said stamp set, and I'm gonna stamp it in Pacific Point. I thought about doing it in Granny Apple Green, but I just kind of liked the way that had the Pacific Point with the words. So I just need to get it on here. This is probably about a 1/2 inch. That one's a little crooked. I'll do one more. About a 1/2 inch wide. It's actually probably exactly a 1/2 inch wide, because when I trim my paper, that's usually what I end up taking off. So, and then I'm just going to snip that. I'll get rid of that one that I didn't like. And I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of it, because I want this to have that dimension as well. Hi, Rana. How are you? Glad to see you on here watching. This, aside from cutting out the little stencil that I made, which takes a little bit of time because you have to poke all those little holes out, is a really quick card to make. As you can see, we've got that done. I'm going to do a little bit for the inside because I want something on the inside. As Lisa Marie tells me, no naked insides for my cards. So I also cut out using the very vanilla thick cardstock and the Doily Builder stamp set. I cut out this little doily. I'm just going to stick this right here at the edge. I'm not even going to tape it down because I don't think I'm going to need to tape it down, but I'm going to use the same colors again. I'm going to use some Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to sponge a little bit around the edge. And then I'll use a little bit of Granny Apple Green. Go right on the inside of that. Maybe I should have taped it because here I am moving it. I don't even know if my Daffodil Delight went through there. It did a little bit. Perfect. All right, and once I get that back on there, I will get my Pacific Point, and I'm just going to sponge a little bit of that as well to finish it up. I just need to make sure I get this back where I want it. All right, and I'll just hold it from this side. That's probably the easier way. I just don't know. I hope you can see where I'm sponging. I feel like my hand's in the way. But then that'll be on the inside of your card. And then if you were to just cut this out of, well, you could do it in thick Whisper White or thick Very Vanilla, and you wanted to use it for another card, that would be perfect too, because isn't that gorgeous? It would be awesome to add to a card. But like I said, I want to use them as stencils on my cards, so I don't want to use them on other cards right now. Maybe eventually. Like I said, if I cut some out with the window sheets and they turn out great, then I'll use those on a card. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and put some snail on the back of it. And I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the card. And then I'll post a picture of this so everyone can see it better as well, like I always do with my video. But there's my card, and I wanted to show you, I made a 3x3 card as well. Oh, I forgot one step. I need to use some of the little epoxy shapes, the clear epoxy shapes. And I just added a couple of those to the front. You probably can't even see them because they are clear. If I hold it a little closer, maybe you can see. I've got one here, and one here. And you could do pearls, you could do rhinestones, anything that you want. I just wanted to use the epoxy dots because this is not an original idea. I wanted to show you where I got this idea because I want you to know you can always copy something from the catalog. This is from the front of the catalog. This is this little card right here. And I might have sponged it just a little bit different, and I might have even used a little bit different colors, but I think I got the colors pretty close. You can always copy what's on the front of the catalog, what's on the inside of the catalog. That's what those are there for. Those are ideas for you to use when you're crafting. Although I haven't put anything on the inside of this card yet, but maybe I'll do a little sponge on the inside of that card as well with a little piece of Whisper White. But this is today's One Card Wonder Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will come back next week and watch as well. Go ahead and leave some comments. Leave me some hearts. Leave me some smiley faces. Anything during the video. I know I'm all pretty much done with the video now, but if you go back and rewatch, because these are ways that my videos will it'll keep popping up to show you, hey, she's on right now, maybe if you want to watch it, or it'll also maybe show it on other people's news feeds so it gets out there. But I appreciate you all watching. I'm glad you are part of my Stampin' Up! Journey, and I will see you next week for another One Card Wonder Wednesday. Bye.